Beth Hannon. I'm a United States bankruptcy judge in this district. This morning we have 50 applicants from 25 different countries. For some of you, the path here was not easy. Leaving your homeland, saying goodbye to family and friends, that can be pretty emotional. Traveling to a new country and finding a home and a new job are big changes. Adjusting to a new culture and a new way of life can be confusing at times. And for many of you, coming here means learning a new language. But that's what makes this country so great. It's made up of people from all over the world, people who want to be here, people who have made a conscious decision to move here from wherever they were born. Each of you brings to this country his or her own background, experiences, thoughts, and opinions that you can now share with others, so we can all benefit from the wisdom that you gained in that exchange of ideas. My own ancestors came to this country from Scotland, Norway, Ireland, and France. The history of immigration to the United States is the history of this country itself. Other than Native Americans, like you, all of our families originally came from someplace else. Many famous Americans over the years were born outside of the United States. Alexander Graham Bell, who is often credited with inventing the telephone, not the cell phone though, was born in Scotland and moved to the United States, becoming a US citizen at the age of 35. Knute Rockne, the Notre Dame football coach who popularized the forward pass, came at the age of 5 from Norway. Enrico Fermi, the nuclear scientist, was born in Italy and moved to the United States in 1938, becoming a citizen in 1944. Former US Secretary of Labor, Elaine Chao, was born in Taiwan, coming here at age 8. Sergei Rachmaninoff, the composer, was from Russia and lived in the United States for 25 years before becoming a citizen in 1943. This state of Wisconsin has had governors who were born in Scotland, Prussia, Germany, and Norway. And the list of accomplishments goes on. You may be looking around this courtroom wondering, I wonder where she's from. I wonder where he is from. Let me read off the countries represented here today. And when you hear the country that you're from, just raise your hand so that we can all understand where each applicant is from. Albania, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Burma, Canada, the People's Republic of China, Colombia, Costa Rica, Germany, Iceland, India, Iraq, Italy, Jamaica, Laos, Mexico, Pakistan, the Philippines, Portugal, Somalia, South Korea, Taiwan, Turkey, the Ukraine, United Kingdom, and Venezuela. Welcome. Before we get started, I would like to introduce some people who are going to assist us here today. After the ceremony, volunteers from the League of Women Voters will distribute a brochure and pertinent information regarding voting, a privilege you will all have after today. They will be available in the atrium of the courthouse on the first floor after the ceremony to register you from certain cities to vote in future elections. In addition, here today is a representative from the U.S. Immigration Service, Officer Thomas Moore. As part of this process, Officer Moore has a motion to present to me.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
My name is Thomas Moore. I'm the designated officer of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This morning, Your Honor, I have a motion for the admission to United States citizenship of 50 applicants for naturalization here present in this courtroom. Each of the applicants has been examined by an officer of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Each applicant has been found to be a person of good moral character who has resided in the United States for a period of time required by the statute. Each has been found to be favorably disposed to the good order and happiness of the United States, and each is familiar with the history of the United States, the principles of the Constitution, and form of government of the United States. No objection to their admission has been found. Therefore, Your Honor, I respectfully move that each of the applicants here present be admitted to United States citizenship upon taking the oath of allegiance as required by the statute.
I'm happy to grant that motion. Before you each take the oath of allegiance to the United States, it is my job to explain to you its meaning. It has two parts. In the first part, you will absolutely and entirely renounce any allegiance and fidelity you previously had to any prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty. These words are plain. The oath means what it says. After you take the oath, you will owe all of your allegiance to the United States. The allegiance you held to the country from which you came will be destroyed as if it never existed. And any blood you may shed in the future will be American blood. But this does not mean you have to forget or deny your native heritage. Truly, one of the things that makes this country special is the fact that people of so many diverse cultures and traditions live here side by side. Many immigrants to this country continue to enjoy the traditions of the country from which they came. By becoming citizens of the United States, you do not have to give up those traditions which are important to you. The United States was founded on the diversity of people from all over the world. Diversity is important, and we have many state and federal laws respecting and protecting that diversity. In America, it is illegal to discriminate against someone based on their race or nationality. We value tolerance, dignity, and respect for each other. So now I must ask you, if any of you are unwilling to renounce your allegiance and loyalty to your former country, raise your hand now, and your petition for naturalization will be withdrawn and dismissed. Seeing no hands raised, we will move on to the second part of the oath. In that part, you will swear to support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. The Constitution was adopted over 225 years ago. Its purpose is set forth in its preamble, which is to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, to provide for the common defense, to promote the general welfare, and to secure the blessings of liberty. The Constitution sets forth the principles upon which this country was founded. It establishes the three branches of our government: the legislative branch in the form of the Congress, composed of the represent the executive branch, the powers over which are vested in the president, and the judicial branch, headed by the United States Supreme Court. At the time our Constitution was drafted, some of the states of the new country were concerned that the Constitution would result in tyranny of the type they had just fought against in England. So they insisted that further language be added to prevent misconstruction of this new document or an abuse of the powers which it set forth. In response, Congress proposed 10 amendments to the new Constitution, and these amendments are known as the Bill of Rights. In the Bill of Rights, the drafters attempted to guarantee to themselves and their children, and now to you and your children, certain rights, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from unreasonable searches and seizures, the freedom from imprisonment without a fair trial. One of our jobs as federal judges is to make sure that those rights are protected and that the government does not do anything to infringe on those rights. If we conclude that you have been the victim of an unreasonable search and seizure, for example, any evidence seized by the government cannot be used against you at trial. In the 2 centuries since the Constitution was ratified, there have been occasions when the collective wisdom of the people of this country have concluded that change is necessary, that the way things are is not acceptable. So there have been additional amendments to the Constitution that establish new rights that we believe are fair and just. In 1865, for example, near the conclusion of the Civil War, the 13th Amendment was adopted, outlawing slavery. In 1870, the 15th Amendment was adopted, giving black persons the right to vote. In 1920, women were given the right to vote with the passage of the 19th Amendment. It took over 130 years before the collective wisdom of the nation was that women should have the right to vote. But the basic principles of the Constitution have endured, even though at times there has been debate and argument over what the principles mean. The evolving interpretation of the doctrines contained in the Constitution have allowed this country to evolve from what was a largely agricultural society into an industrial world power. When the Constitution was written, there were no gasoline-powered engines, no electricity, no automobiles, no airplanes, no telephones, no radio, no cell phones or computers. Think of how much the world has changed just in your lifetime. When the Bill of Rights said that people shall not be subject to unreasonable searches and seizures, the drafters were thinking about searches of homes, barns, and clothing. They weren't thinking about searches of your car, or your cell phone, or your computer. And yet those same rights and protections provided for over 227 years ago are simple enough and basic enough that they apply just as much today as they did when written. Think about the challenge of writing a document that will be able to withstand the test of time and unknown changes which are surely to come in the future. The Constitution has proved to be a truly tenacious document. By taking your oath, you are joining the citizens of this country in promising to support and defend the principles set forth in the Constitution, no matter what it might cost you. My great-grandmother came to the United States in the 1800s from Scotland by way of Canada. A cousin of my great-grandfather served the Northern troops as a scout in the Civil War and is buried at Arlington National Cemetery. He died defending the principles set forth in the Constitution. My mother's father served in the Army in World War I, and both my father and father-in-law served our country in World War II. In the United States, we celebrate Memorial Day, where we honor men and women who have died while serving in the U.S. Armed Forces. Hopefully not, but someday you, like I, may be called upon to defend the Constitution and the United States against attack. And by taking this oath today, you agree that you will do so if asked. The Constitution provides you with rights and privileges, but not guarantees. There are no guarantees. The American dream is the belief that through hard work and determination, any immigrant to this country can achieve a better life, usually in terms of financial prosperity and enhanced freedoms. But there is no guarantee of happiness. There is no guarantee of success. Those you have to make on your own. But the government won't get in your way. Great examples can be found in looking at the lives of those persons I mentioned earlier. Most of them did not come to the United States already rich and successful. Indeed, many of them were quite poor. But through hard work and determination, and oftentimes a little ingenuity, they were able to achieve success. I need to be clear. The United States is not a perfect country. It has too many poor. Its prisons are overcrowded. Too many people are without jobs. And racism is still a problem. But we are trying to address these things and make them better. You all have had the benefit of viewing the United States from the outside. You may have very different opinions about the United States than those of us who get our information from the inside, so to speak. You obviously have concluded that you want to be U.S. citizens, and we're happy about that. But as new citizens, if you disagree with something the United States is doing, you can voice your opinion and work for change. Being a United States citizen means that you are free. You are free to think on your own, form your own opinions, say what you want to say, even if what you have to say is unpopular. You are free to work where you want to work, to read what you want to read, to believe what you choose to believe, to openly practice any religion or no religion at all. But with those freedoms comes responsibility. It is the responsibility to participate in the democratic process by voting, not casually, but in a thoughtful and informed way. You have a responsibility to educate yourself so you can make wise choices. Our democracy only works when its citizens participate fully by helping to select those who will govern us all, and by taking that process seriously. From my perspective, if you don't vote, you shouldn't criticize the choices of those who do vote. By taking this oath today, you all will have the right to vote, and I hope you take advantage of that very precious right. So at this time, I'd ask each of the applicants to stand to take the formal oath of allegiance. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law, that I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by the law, that I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law, and that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, so help me God. Let me be the first to congratulate you on becoming citizens. Well, do you feel different? Our country is a little bigger now. You now possess something that many people around the world would like to have: U.S. citizenship. Many people around the world live in countries where they can only dream of the rights and freedoms that you now enjoy as U.S. citizens. It is important that you take advantage of those rights and freedoms. Get involved. Speak out against things that you think are wrong. Without people willing to work for change, we would still have slavery. Women still would not be able to vote. For the United States to continue to develop and improve, we all need to strive to protect those principles upon which it was founded, and not let anyone, including our elected officials, violate those constitutional rights. Many of you went through a lot to get to this point, and you demonstrated that you have what the United States values in its citizens. We are enriched by the fact that you have become our fellow citizens. As we get older, the days, weeks, and months can all blend together. We get busy, and before we know it, we are 10 years older than we were yesterday. Although I don't like to talk about age. We wonder where the time went, but there are some occasions in life that you never forget. You never forget your wedding day. You remember when your children were born. You remember the day a loved one died. I have little doubt that this is a day that that you will always remember, hopefully as a very happy and good day in your life. Given my job as a federal bankruptcy judge, if you never see me again, that's probably a good thing. But someday, if you bump into me on the street, feel free to let me know that I was the judge who presided over your naturalization ceremony. I will wish you well. I'm very happy for all of you. These proceedings are concluded.
All right.